morning. My name is Laura Wenman, and I am privileged to serve as the Chief Mission Officer of MercyOne in Central Iowa. On behalf of President Carl Keeler and the entire MercyOne family, we are especially honored to welcome Governor Kim Reynolds, members of the Schuster family, our generous donors, and faithful community sponsors on this joyous occasion. While we come together in this now all too familiar virtual manner, the cause has an element of repeating history in doing so. When Catherine McCauley, the foundress of the Sisters of Mercy, first opened the original House of Mercy in Dublin, Ireland, she did so in the midst of a cholera epidemic. When the Sisters of Mercy first arrived in Central Iowa in 1894, they immediately encountered residents threatened by a devastating and deadly flu outbreak. As we honor the Mercy legacy today with the opening of the Joseph and Dorothy Schuster Behavioral Health Center, we too find ourselves in unfamiliar circumstances. It is in the spirit of the Sisters of Mercy, however, that we have persevered and together have committed to meet the evolving and often complex needs of all people. Just as these faith-filled women adapted, so do we, in offering an additional way to serve those with mental health challenges. To demonstrate the growing need for the care we will be providing, we are going to ask for some audience participation. Using the poll options on the screen, I ask you now to anonymously respond to the following question. How many of you have had your life or that of a loved one touched by a mental health issue? As you can see, the need for mental health services is also an epidemic of sorts, and yet the options for treatment are often uncoordinated and access comes with an unfortunate stigma. So as we do in all things, we ask for God's presence in the opening of our new clinic, that we may provide hope to the hopeless and relief to those who suffer. May the talents of our dedicated colleagues serve as catalysts to healing for those we are privileged to serve. And may God bless those who enter our doors with wisdom, strength, and lasting peace. It is now my privilege to welcome our most supportive advocate, Iowa Governor Kim Reynolds.
Thank you, Laura. And I am so pleased to be here with you today to celebrate the opening of the Joseph and Dorothy Schuster Behavioral Health Center. This center will enable the House of Mercy to significantly expand its outpatient services and doubling the number of people they'll serve each year to help provide help and hope to 900 more individuals and families that are struggling to achieve their life's potential because of addiction or mental health issues. And it certainly fulfills the mission and vision that the Sisters of Mercy had more than 30 years ago when they opened the House of Mercy to serve the most vulnerable in our communities, and something that I believe that we all have a responsibility to do. You know, 1 in 5 adults in Iowa, approximately 600,000 individuals, live with some form of mental illness. Mental health is every bit as important as our physical well-being. But when care isn't available or when it's difficult to navigate, people suffer, and so do our communities. As governor, expanding access to mental health services across Iowa has been one of my highest priorities, and I'm proud of the progress we've made over the last few years. With overwhelming bipartisan support from the legislature, I've had the privilege of signing historic bills into law that ensures Iowans who need help can receive it. We've expanded adult mental health services to include access centers, assertive community treatment teams, and crisis services. We've trained teachers to recognize the signs of a mental health crisis and help prevent suicide among school-age children, and created Iowa's first children's mental health system so that we can reach our youngest Iowans as early as possible, providing a path to well-being and a future of promise and hope. Over the last year, the need for mental health services has never been greater. The pandemic, I think, underscored the importance of a strong mental health infrastructure that can serve a wide variety of needs. from our healthcare workers who every day face the harsh reality of COVID-19, to our children who were isolated when schools closed, parents who lost their jobs, business owners who closed their doors, and many, many families who lost loved ones. Many Iowans sought help for the first time. And for those with chronic mental illness or ongoing struggle with addiction, the last 10 months have only exacerbated those issues. Federal funding allowed us to expand services to meet the increased need. We were able to allocate $30 million from the Iowa's Coronavirus Relief Fund, and it was allocated to our state's mental health regions, and another $20 million to mental health and substance use providers. With additional funds from FEMA, we've been able to offer free virtual counseling and assistance for all Iowans who've been affected by COVID-19. But long-term sustainable mental health funding is also necessary to ensure that those services remain available for generations to come. And that's why in my budget this year, I've proposed $30 million to be allocated over the next 2 years, $15 million this and $15 million the next, for Iowa's mental health system. And that additional funding is allocated to expand the state's, and then also I've added additional funding to expand the state's psychiatric residency program and support psychiatric medical institutes for children. So, of course, we cannot forget the mental health needs of incarcerated Iowans who will eventually re-enter our communities and need a second chance to lead a positive and productive life. Approximately 72% of our people in prison have a history of mental illness and substance use disorder. So providing treatment during incarceration and making community resources available are critical to helping us reduce recidivism and protecting public safety. This year, I'm also proposing funding of $1 million for a pilot program that's aimed at expanding treatment in Iowa's correctional facilities and our community-based corrections facilities as well. But addressing the issue of mental health and providing the care that Iowans need and deserve, regardless of age, location, or circumstances, it's going to take all of us. And today is a shining example of how we can work together to better care for the most vulnerable and create stronger, healthier individuals, families, and communities that benefit us all. I want to recognize MercyOne and the House of Mercy for being pillars of service in this community. Your commitment and compassion lifts up the least among us and provides them with hope and dignity they need to put their lives on a new path. I also want to honor the generosity of the Schuster family and all of the donors who made this center a reality. You've given an incredible gift to the women and families who will be served here for years to come. So finally, I would just want to thank all of you for being a part of the solution to creating a healthier, stronger state. And I absolutely look forward to continuing our collective efforts to ensure that every Iowan has every opportunity to achieve their full potential. So thanks for letting me be a part of today. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Rebecca Peterson, who is the Executive Director of the House of Mercy. Rebecca?
Thank you, Governor Reynolds, so much for supporting House of Mercy and recognizing the importance of quality substance use disorder and mental health treatment for Iowans. By allocating CARES Act funding specifically for behavioral health providers, we were able to continue offering these vital services safely and effectively to our clients during this pandemic. We also thank you for working to revamp the children's mental health system in Iowa and your commitment to fund these services adequately. We look forward to continuing to work with you as you move these initiatives forward. I would also like to thank our board members, MercyOne leaders, and all the community members who could join us today. I know many of you are well aware of the services and programs we provide at House of Mercy, but for those who are not as familiar with our work, we are one of Iowa's most comprehensive providers of substance use disorder and mental health services. We are CARF accredited and licensed by the state of Iowa. We offer residential substance use disorder treatment for single women and women with children so that families can stay together and heal together during treatment. We also offer a robust outpatient program for co-occurring issues that focuses on reducing barriers for accessing these services by offering walk-in assessments and providing treatment that is affordable. We use evidence-based practices to provide high-quality, personalized care for our clients and families. I am currently sitting in our new Schuster Behavioral Health Center, which is an exciting expansion of our outpatient services. The center is going to enable us to increase our clinicians by 50%. That means offering more group sessions, more individual therapy, more psychiatric services, and overall helping more Iowans. We will continue serving men, women, and children out of this location. As you can see from the pictures, the space features a new group therapy room, family and play therapy space, an observational window for students practicing their counseling skills and for use during child-parent psychotherapy sessions. In addition to our group rooms, we have 14 beautiful office spaces for our therapists. We know how difficult it is for someone to reach out and ask for help when they are struggling. And by offering this tranquil new space, we can provide privacy, comfort, and a welcoming environment to meet the needs of our diverse clients. Some of the therapeutic techniques that our counselors are trained to provide includes cognitive behavioral therapy, EMDR, child-parent psychotherapy, motivational interviewing, and solution-focused brief therapy, just to name a few. All of our clinicians provide trauma-informed care, focusing on creating an environment of safety, empowerment, and healing. Of course, all this work would not be possible without the dedication and commitment from our outpatient team. So last but not least, I would like to thank our clinical manager, Kendra Parker, and all the clinicians and team members that will be working at the Schuster Behavioral Health Center. This is truly a joyous occasion for us because the dream of this expansion has been part of the House of Mercy vision for many years as we continue to see the high need for these services in our community and wait lists growing. As part of our long-standing mission, we are proud to be part of the solution by offering quality behavioral health care. And now I'd like to turn it over to Shannon Cofield.
Thank you very much, Becca. The Schuster Behavioral Health Center has been fully funded by Philanthropy, and the namesake really reflects a very generous $490,000 estate gift from the late Dorothy Schuster. She and her husband, Joseph and Dorothy Schuster, were huge supporters of Mercy and especially the House of Mercy. And it is because of their generosity in this very generous estate gift that we were able to begin fundraising for the remainder of the center, which is what we are celebrating today. I would just like to share, Dorothy passed away in June of 2018, and a quote from her children I would like to share. Dorothy and Joseph were incredible, loving, generous people, said Audrey Off, daughter of Dorothy Schuster. We've always been amazed by Mom's resourcefulness and strength, and by Joe's love and generosity. So we thank them and our other donors today who have made this center possible. I'd like to recognize as well, we have other partners that have been very instrumental in working with us. I would also like to recognize the Community Foundation of Greater Des Moines for their $100,000 contribution, Guide One Foundation for their $30,000 donation, and then Prairie Meadows, the estate of Roger August Piper, and the Chrysalis Foundation for their $10,000 contributions as well. We thank all of you for what you've been able to do to make this possible. And finally, when you are considering your philanthropic gifts for the year, please keep House of Mercy in mind. This just gives you a sense of what $50 up to a $5,000 contribution can provide for services for a client overcoming substance abuse and mental health disorders at House of Mercy. So thank you all for your community support. We greatly appreciate it. Now I'd like to turn it over to Angela Deathless-Tretton with the Community Foundation. Angie?
Great. Thank you so much, Shannon. Really appreciate the opportunity to be here today to mark this grand opening of such an incredible community resource. The Community Foundation of Greater Des Moines is proud to have provided a leadership grant to support the creation of the Schuster Behavioral Health Center. Mental health care is a critical need in our community, and services that will be provided through this new and inviting space, wasn't it just beautiful to see those pictures, will certainly offer access to that much needed care to so many individuals in Central Iowa. Over the past few years, the Community Foundation really has seen the heightened and necessary conversation around mental health, as well as the importance of acknowledging its presence and persistence in our community. The Schuster Behavioral Health Center is one more way that our community can address these challenges and support our neighbors and their families who are facing it daily. This past year has only heightened this to a greater extent for many of us. The Community Foundation has had, as part of our grant-making priorities, a focus on social and emotional health and well-being, providing funding to initiatives that have not only helped to identify gaps, but perhaps more importantly, drive to collective community solutions. And this is clearly one of those examples. So today is about celebrating the transformation of more than just a space. It is about celebrating the transformation of the ability to access mental health care in our community for everyone. And the critical care provided here will certainly create tidal waves of change as you all and that incredible team working day in and day out will help strengthen our entire community for generations to come. Thank you to each one of you for all that you do every single day. As we like to say, we are proud to partner with you in making our community better together. And now I'd like to turn it over to Brenda Crummell, Chair of the House of Mercy Board. Brenda?
Thank you, Angie. House of Mercy is governed by a volunteer board of trustees. We represent community leaders who believe in the purpose and mission of the organization and have a shared desire to care for those struggling with addiction. On behalf of the board, we would like to congratulate House of Mercy and MercyOne Des Moines Foundation for this important project. We are proud of the organization that provides much-needed vital services for our community. We want to provide you with a glimpse of the types of persons that will be treated at the Schuster Behavioral Health Center. Meet Katie. Katie was a residential client at House of Mercy. In her words, through House of Mercy, she was able to transform her life from a drug addict into a self-sufficient mom. Once she discharged from residential treatment, she utilized House of Mercy's outpatient treatment for therapy as she continues to live a life of sobriety and independence. Meet Brad. This image and name reflects a real-life client currently receiving treatment at House of Mercy. Brad accessed outpatient mental health services so he can become a better father to his son. Now you. We encourage you to think about House of Mercy if you or a loved one is in need of behavioral health, that is mental health or substance abuse services. And now I'll turn it over to Rebecca Peterson to wrap us up and walk us through our ribbon cutting.
Okay, well, this is the fun part. I'm going to ask our speakers to hold up their ribbon. Since we can't be together to cut our ribbon together, we're going to do it virtually. And I have a couple clinicians here who are going to help me cut my ribbon here at the Schuster Behavioral Health Center. All right. So hopefully everyone can still hear and see me. On the count of 3, we're going to cut after 3. 1, 2, 3. Yay! Thank you everyone for being here today. And if you want to know more about House of Mercy, our website is on the last slide here. And we just encourage you to reach out if you or anyone you know needs help or needs our services. And with that, we'll conclude our ribbon cutting, and thanks again.